Imagine you've been healthy your entire life. You've done all the right things. You've eaten right, you've exercised, you got your vitamin D, and then one day you go to the doctor and they tell you you have MS. So you don't panic, you go see a specialist and they put you on the world's best disease-modifying medication that's sure to help. But the only issue is you not only continue to decline, but you continue to decline at a faster and faster rate. Now imagine that you're a doctor who has MS and is going through the exact same thing. You feel like the system that you've worked in, you've grown to love, has completely let you down. Well, there is just such a doctor, and her name is Terry Wahls. But not only has she been able to reverse a lot of her MS symptoms, she's been able to come up with ways to help numerous chronic conditions and help improve them through diet. Wait, you mean like eating food? Well, luckily today I'm sitting down with the writer of the Wahls Protocol, Terry Wahls, to discuss this very factor and how her book and her findings are showing that you can take action against chronic disease right now with food. So let's get this baby rolling. Thank you, Ryan. That was a lovely intro. A little bit high energy, but I appreciate it. And I'm sitting here with Dr. Terry Wahls. We appreciate you taking the time to sit down with just a guy on the block struggling from a chronic illness. And the first thing I recognized as being kind of a health nut my whole life is that nutrition was going to be a vital piece of managing whatever was causing this in my body.
If you want to be certain that you're doing everything possible, it's really up to you. I tell people that we are really the principal investigator of the experiment to find what's the best treatment and wellness program for us. And so, take this job seriously, invest in it if you want to have the very best outcome.
Yeah, and you talk about this in your book. You were diagnosed with MS some 20 odd years ago. You've been kicking its butt for as long as I can remember. Your book centers around diet as the key to feeding what you quote as mitochondrial dysfunction in our bodies. And that is something that I think no matter what chronic illness you have, that is what is probably going on.
Basic unit of our bodies are the individual cell. And even within the cell, there are some components. The mitochondria is a ancient bacteria about 1.5 billion years ago, through random mutations, developed the Krebs cycle, so it could use oxygen, and it could use oxygen to make ATP the currency of life that our cells use to help run the chemistry of life. We rely on those mitochondria in all of our cells to run that currency of life, to run the ATP, so our cells can do the work assigned to that cell. If your cell can't make enough ATP, that cell doesn't work very well. So if it's in my brain, I can't think as well. I have more fatigue, more irritability. If it's in my heart, I'm more likely to have heart disease or heart rhythm problem. As I was reading, trying to figure out what I could do to slow my illness, I was reading all this basic science stuff, the animal models for all sorts of neurologic disease. In that reading, I saw that mitochondria were not working properly in all of these disease states. So that led to my theory. And it's interesting, at the time, nobody was talking about mitochondria in MS. But I thought, they're related. I'm sure they're related. And I had very few relapses. I've only had 2 in my whole time course. My disease course looked much more like that slow progressive loss, much more like neurodegeneration. So I decided mitochondria were key, and would create this supplement cocktail, and then a nutrition cocktail designed to be sure that my mitochondria had the most effective nutrition possible.
And to me, that is something that I've never personally thought about. Even as a nutrition hound, I've always been into fitness and exercise. Obviously, look at those biceps.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I know. I think I'm hitting around, hope 10 inches. I don't know, but I've always been into nutrition, but I've never thought of it breaking it down into the vitamins and minerals. I've always thought of it as the 3 basic macronutrients: protein, carbs, and fat.
Well, we really got into trouble when we started processing our food so we could store it for a long time. And we started having sugar and white flour, and the amount of sugar and white flour steadily grew. And so they have calories, but they don't have much nutrition in them. They don't have vitamins, they don't have minerals, they don't have antioxidants, they have very little fat. And that's the stuff that we need. We need the building blocks for all the parts, because After all, food we eat will be used in part to run the chemistry, make the ATP, the currency of life. The food we eat will also be the building blocks to make the proteins and the structures of our bodies. If I want a quality body and a quality brain, I have to have quality food.
Exactly. And so I kind of want to lead into this as a general public, and knowing that doctors generally do not have a background in nutrition training. So when we go to the doctor, we're chronically ill. We go there, we're looking for answers. I'm looking for answers, and they don't really know what to tell me. So they hand me like gabapentin or whatever that treats the symptom, but it doesn't address necessarily the problem of this mitochondrial dysfunction. How do we as the public encourage more doctors to take nutrition into a deeper consideration when looking at these larger illnesses?
Fortunately, because the public is interested in people like me who are writing diet and lifestyle books,
Mm-hmm.
and the public is now saying, I really don't want to start with drugs. I want to start with diet and lifestyle. Let's start there. If I don't get the response that I need, then yes, we can think about drugs.
Right.
I think it's up to the public to say, I know we're supposed to start with diet and lifestyle first. So now the sad thing is, many physicians, particularly the specialists, will know nothing about diet and lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
But your primary care physician or nurse practitioner or physician assistant should. They should be able to give you a lot of support if what you want to do is improve the quality of your diet, add meditation, add exercise.
Yeah.
And of course, what I tell you is, pick up my book. I have a lot of great information to get you started, and you can work collaboratively with your primary care team then.
Exactly. And it's really in depth. And one thing I want to talk about is you talk about combining this world of general medicine that you got your degree in and that you practiced and that you taught, and then finding this other world of functional medicine and
Yes.
kind of meeting in the middle to find that kind of gooey, lovey-dovey, meshy greatness.
Work with the specialist on their area of expertise, which would be conventional approach to your specialty type illness. And if what you're trying to do is improve cellular nutrition, cellular function at a cellular level, that's where a functional medicine doc or my book or your primary care doc
Right.
Should be able to assist you.
Right.
It's sort of like asking me to do a heart cath.
Would you be interested?
It would probably not work out very well. But if you want me to help you design a nutritional program for your heart, I could probably do that very well.
Right. So when do we start?
Okay, well, for your nutrition, the first thing is we want to get rid of some foods that probably drive up the inflammation. Sugar, gluten, casein, eggs. I also prefer to get rid of the processed foods and have you eat these radical things known as vegetables.
Dear God. Okay, keep going.
And then we have to talk about a protein source. And I need to know, are you a vegetarian, vegan for spiritual reasons? Do you have any dietary restrictions for your religious beliefs, such as avoiding beef if you're a Hindu, avoiding pork if you're Muslim or Jewish? So I have to understand the cultural needs, as well as your spiritual needs, as well as what I see nutritionally in your health needs. Then we address how we're going to get your protein. We've talked about the vegetables. And then I may decide that we can just start with level 1 diet, do that for 3 months, and just have a great results, and we can stop there. If you don't have the great results, then we're going to go on to the paleo diet or the elimination diet. And so that's why I have several versions in my book.
Right.
So I can personalize this according to your spiritual beliefs, your nutritional needs, and try to have you on the least restrictive diet possible.
So we've established that a lot of chronic illnesses can come down to basically mitochondrial dysfunction happening in the body. Stay tuned for the next part of the interview with Dr. Terry Wahls, where I ask her, how can we utilize this food specifically to help you get back on track with your health? Remember, I'm Ryan. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.